Welcome to the very first episode of Shred is Not Dead. If it makes you bang your head, we'll talk with them or about them. I'm joined today by Tony, the Demolition Man himself.
Good morning, good evening, good evening, good morning. Thank you very much. I'm glad it's the first one, and I love the intro.
Thank you very much. Thanks. It's look, this is going to be a bit of a casual conversation. I'm not trying to be too, I hate those podcasts where you feel like you're being lectured at. Like I do enough of that.
No, absolutely. Having a conversation is so much better. I'm a very conversational type of guy. Yeah, I do talk too much. So when you need me to shut up, you can stand on me. That's okay. Don't worry.
No, this is your time to shine, mate. This is your time to shine. So let's get into it. There's Only Black is dropping on the 23rd. That's not many days now.
No, it's next Friday.
Oh, you've got your copy. There we go.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah.
So I've had a listen to it. I've been allowed to have a bit of a peek at it. It's very good. And the thing I want to get onto the topic of is basically my understanding is when Venom Inc. started being a thing, there was the intention to play the classics, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And you had an album before this, so this is the second album now under the label of Venom Inc.
Yeah.
This one, I did like the first album. I went back and revisited it. I did like it, but this is a special beast for me. This is a good album. And I'm wondering, amongst the band, was there a moment where it clicked that you thought, hang on, I want to do new stuff and we want to keep making new stuff and not just be a tribute to the classics? When did that happen, or was it a
progressive? Well, I mean, the idea, we got asked to play, or I got approached for us to, would we play Keep It True Festival in 2015? And then the guy who runs that festival said, listen, because it's you and Mantis, if Abaddon was there, if he was there, what's the chance you would play 4 or 5 Venom classic songs just for the fans? Because it's a retro festival, they'd love it. And I was like, well, it's never going to happen because there's no way Jeff will do that, and they hate each other. And anyway, he convinced me that I could make it happen. So I spoke to both of them, and that was it. That's what we did. We played our Empire show and then brought Abaddon on, played 5 songs. Everybody went crazy because, oh my God, yeah. And that was it. It was like, pack your bag, go home, and see you later. We carry on with what we're doing, and he goes back to whatever he was doing. But it didn't happen like that, I had some shirts made just for the event with Venom Incorporated. That came out Venom Inc. because the guy said Incorporated, it's too long. It messed with the image, so I've just made it Inc. because that is incorporated. It's like, oh, okay. And so it was kind of all a fait accompli, before I think about 3 weeks after we did Keep It True, we're just doing 5 songs. We were in China and then Japan, and then we came to Australia. Then we went to South America. Then we went to America. Then we went to Canada, Europe, and it was like, wow. And it just never stopped. But again, the idea was to just, 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Hello? I'm just, hello? Someone trying to get in. So the idea was I just thought, listen, let's just play for 12, 15 months. We'll just play songs the fans want to hear. So it wasn't about going, we're only playing the stuff off the first 2 albums because that's how we're going to make some money. And it wasn't about it was, for me, it was just about I would ask the fans, and if they said nobody ever played Manitou, we'll play Manitou. Nobody ever played the B-side of Bloodlust or this or what, then I played the B-side. That was the whole intention, was to give an opportunity. If fans couldn't see Mantis, Abaddon and Kronos together, then you could still see them. You could go and see Kronos, but you could also come and see Abaddon and Mantis. You didn't have, okay, I'm driving and I have to stand there while people throw bricks at me because you're not the singer, whatever. But for me, it wasn't about that. It was about the music. 40 years later, they don't own the music. You guys own the music. The fans own the music, because you might listen to, when was the last time that this guy listened to that album? Probably 30 years ago when he finished recording it. When was the last time you listened to it? Last night, last week, the day before? You know, it's that. So the music means something to the fans, and I wanted to give an opportunity to deliver that. No intention of an album until Chuck Billy from Testament and John Sazula, who I got in to help me manage after about 18 months, because I said, man, it's just too much. I can't do everything. And then they said, you got to make an album. And I didn't want to do that, because then it becomes a different thing. It isn't just playing songs that people want to hear and just, you know, reminiscing or enjoying the music that they've never heard live or they might not hear live. It became something else. And so I didn't want to do that. Thought it would cause problems, which it did. But I agreed, and we did the album. But even the first 3 songs is a demo that me and Jeff did. We sent to, they said, which labels make a list? And I said, there's only one name on the list, Nuclear Blast. If they say no, we forget it and we move on. If they say yes, we continue. And I kind of secretly thought, they're going to say no anyway. But they said yes. I was like, oh, fuck's sake. So then it become very real very quickly, you know?
Yeah.
So, but we had, you know, when we did Arve, we had time because there was a schedule. We had to deliver by then. The artwork had to go by then. It was going to release by then. We then go on tour. So kind of we made sure it was quite you know, systematic how we worked. Whereas when we did this, there was a pandemic, you know, so it was like we could be here forever. We don't know how long. And I didn't want to put anything out that we couldn't tour, because if it's 3 years before we tour, but that's an old album now, we need to put a new album out. So I wanted to keep it. So we just thought, fuck, we'll just take our time. And we wrote 24 songs with total freedom. We didn't think about Arve. We didn't think about anything past. We just wanted to express who we are now, the way we feel now. And that all came out. And so it was quite an exciting record from that point of view.
Yeah, and you can definitely feel that that excitement. And another thing I was thinking that I wanted to discuss with you that I noticed is whoever your production engineer is, or mixer and masterer, I hope they got a crisp pat on the back. It's a beautiful sounding record. The vocals really cut through. The drums feel punchy and alive. They don't feel that, you know, a lot of death metal now is clicky, 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 clicky. With
Yeah.
And the guitars strike a really nice balance between being sort of bright and raspy, but not too muddy.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm patting you with all these compliments is I'm going to throw a curveball at you that a lot of people splits a lot of scenes down the middle. And that is, when it comes to genres like black metal, thrash metal, some people love good production and some people swear it has to sound like it's been recorded on a toy microphone. And Venom's a band, and Venom Inc. now have straddled sort of both sides of that. And I was wondering if you could comment on that at all.
No, I mean, wonderfully listened to, because Mantis did the production on this. And on Arve, we had a guy, Calais, who's an engineering friend of ours, German, who came over and helped. And I was there as well. So we kind of put that together. And on this, Jeff was kind of solo, if you like. So he did exactly that. He stepped off, cleaned the guitar a bit, because, you know, a lot of people say like, oh, how do you get that sound? How did you get that sound? And it's no mystery. It's like, you know, a chorus, a bit of distortion, and a Marshall. That was it. Plugged in and played. And the chorus with a boost pedal, just a boost for the soloing. So there wasn't a lot going on, and not a lot again on his guitar. It sounds like that, but it's stylistic. It's how he plays the thing, the open chording, and so and of course C tuning, C sharp. So those things contribute to make you think there's more going on. But this time he wanted to just pull it even more back. And the same with the bass. We took a bit of the growl off, so there was separation. So the instrumentation of everybody you could hear. Mr. Kling recorded the drums in his studio in Tampa, where he lives. And basically Jeff said, like, you do your drums and mix them the way you want them, then I'll slip them in. So it's how he wanted to have them sound. So we didn't overproduce him. We didn't overproduce any one of us. We listened to Sam's and went, yeah, that sounds good. Let's go with that sound. And I recorded all the bass here, sent them to him. And then, you know, I put my growl on and he said, I'm going to pull that back a bit. It was like, okay, let's pull it back. He did the same. So it was so natural. But everything that you said, I'll pat him on the back from you, because everything you said is exactly what we did. It's exactly what we did. And the fact that you could hear that and you said it so superbly, bang on, absolutely. And I think that's it. I think, you know, we are about that same thing lyrically. You know, it's like to have a title that evokes interest and stimulates you to go, I wonder what they're trying to say, and then not be able to hear what I'm singing, even if you could read the lyric sheet if there wasn't one. But you know, that's great. It's from an energy point of view, I understand it, because of punk, I go and see shows and, you know, get kicked the fuck while I was just losing my mind, and it was about getting the energy out. So as long as the chorus, I could jump up and shout. The rest of it, whatever, just like, let's go, louder, faster, more chaos. So I understand about that, the death metal, but if I want to say something, if I want to convey an idea, I have to do it lyrically. I can't do it just musically. I can evoke an emotional feeling with the music. You know, it's fast, it's slow, it feels sad or whatever, but I can't get any information to you if you can't hear what I'm singing about. So to me, that's important.
And that's that leads nicely to something that I also had a big first impression on, is the title track. And I think a good album, if you're going to put the title of the album as a song title or in the lyrics, it's got to hit hard. And I think the title track for There's Only Black really did that for me. And I think, you know, religion, nihilism, the paradox of life is meaningful because it's meaningless. That's sort of stuff you touch on. And it's been a common theme running throughout metal a lot.
Yeah.
And without, you know, again, a good artist doesn't really give away too much of the meaning behind the thing, but is that something you think we as a society, for want of a better word, are grappling with at the moment, maybe in a different way to when black metal started?
No, I think so. Yeah, I think, you know, I think the fascination of the thing, you know, the whole idea, you know, the whole idea of church burnings, for example, you know, connected to Satanism and all of that. Of course, that imagery was to provoke, to provoke the norm, you know, and to, you know, if controversy is great for selling bands and ideas and stuff, of course. So, you know, but the whole idea of the church burning thing was more about we can't have our paganism. We can't have what you class as being, you know, so we can't have our gods. We're going to buy into this other thing, which is controlling, you know, and, you know, it's very anarchistic, you know, why they stormed the Bastille or why Oliver Cromwell chopped off Charles's head and formed Parliament. You know, it's when you get to a point where the people want to revolt. And that's okay. So they were young kids into metal and you could blame everything. Maybe the music empowered them to, you know, for mayhem to go and do those things. Maybe the music empowered them to do something they may not have done in their normal life. So can you blame it? Well, you know, blame's a strong word, but certainly it inspired them to want to have a voice. And that was the idea, you know, to not be norm, to not be mainstream, to have your voice. And that's the whole idea of the underground. I mean, everybody begins as an underground. It's like you go from wearing your blah and your all of this and you know, doing all of that. And then you're at a party with a white shirt on and a waistcoat with your glass of champagne. Okay, so at which point, you know, or you start to denounce what you did before because now you're a serious artist or something. It's like, right, okay, how'd you go from that to, I don't know how you know, certainly for me, and that happens, that's selling and that's money, and that's when you're moving into that corporate way of looking at it. But for me, it's about music is your soul, it's who you are, you know. When I joined Venom the first time, people say, what's it like to step into someone else's shoes? I went, I never wear another man's boots, I only wear my own. And it's like, you know, I'm the same person I was then that I am now. I'm just older, more wrinkly, but I'm still the same, you know, vitality. I still love the same, you know, and music still excites me, metal music in particular, and meeting people. So it's like, you know, if you're honest to who you are, you progress through there. I think the difference with the way we are now, particularly with the black metal thing, it's moved. You have some extremes, of course, and then you have some modifications to appeal to a bigger audience, and so it's kind of smoothed out in places, and you still have those nice pockets. But I think for us, it's more. Uh, we've realized the provocative nature of it is now balanced before the reality. And the reality is that we are good, we are evil. You know, there's a woman who lives next door. She's struggling with her shopping. She's in her 60s. I just run out and go, fuck. She didn't ask me to. I run out and say, I go, I'm going to give you a hand, and I help her. The guy next door, who's in his 40s, doesn't really say a lot, but he's just parked in my parking space. What a twat. What you wank, you fucking arsehole. And I'm the same person. I just helped her when she didn't ask me to. And he just parked it, maybe by accident, but I'm like, look at that wanker, he's done that on purpose. Why is he done it on purpose? Maybe he has, but I don't know that. And I'm the same person. So we've had that, you know, you wake up one morning and you're like, hi, mom, hi, everybody. Yeah, it's great. How are you? Yeah, I slept well. You wake up the next morning, you don't want to talk to anybody. It's just fuck off. You know, why?
Yeah.
You're the same person, but it just depends on how you're feeling and that involvement. So that's always interesting for me, you know, is the humanity in it all. We create it all. We make choices and then we create it. And you know, with religion and stuff like that, you can blame something else for the good things, or you can blame them for the bad things. But actually, maybe you're the causality in everything. So, you know, who knows?
And viewer interpretation comes into it a lot there as well, doesn't it? Where if you're looking for something to be evil or a pain in the ass, more than often you'll find an excuse to be able to blame it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's another nice lyrical theme that sort of this album touches on a little bit, is not being able to actually turn around and look back at yourself and try and, you know, what is it I can blame on myself here?
The perspective, yeah. A responsibility, you know, it's responsibility. If you look at, you know, you've got a 3-year-old kid and you come into the room and he's pulled all those glass shit things off the shelf and they're all smashed on the floor, and he's standing there and it's all around him and it's just him there, and you go, what did you do? And he went, it wasn't me. That's the first reaction. You go, of course it was you. You go, I didn't do it. Because we have a response immediately to blame. It's like, I'm gonna be in trouble if I say I did it. So even though you've got the gun and you've got the bullets and the guy's there, and you go, yeah, it wasn't me. It's like, oh, stop it. How many people go to court? Nobody goes to court immediately for anything and goes like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'll do 40. Yeah, it was definitely me. You know, it's very rare that happens, you know, and it's why you get, when that does happen, they think, oh, they're psychologically disturbed. What? Because they were honest? Because if they weren't psychologically disturbed, they'd say it wasn't them. It's like, wow, okay.
That's almost the attractive quality of a Luciferian or a satanic figure, is that for a lot of us coming into metal for the first time and trying to wrap our heads around it, seeing, you know, bands that really represent this character and saying, I contain evil, or I contain the love for humanity and its mistakes. And yes, that is it. And that, I don't know about you, but that's definitely something that I find attractive about that style of music and the satanic imagery that goes with it.
It's completely. And you know, if you look at RV, you know, I put Lucifer on the front of RV, and Lucifer was the light bringer. Lucifer's job or task was given, you know, you to bring knowledge to man. You bring light. Light is knowledge. You know, it's when there's only black, is there any knowledge? There's only black, which means there's no knowledge. Which means when you're denouncing the knowledge by not accepting that you're part of that, and part of the knowledge, part of the Luciferian, or certainly my Luciferian way, and in that true sense of a Lucifer is that the knowledge is you. You are the knowledge. He's giving you your knowledge. And that's not only that you have to put the tea bag in before you put the hot water in, or, you know, you don't go and stay at that house after 11 o'clock at night. It's not stuff like, oh, you can't park your car there or they'll give you a ticket. It's about your self-aware. Who am I? Do I need, am I a half light? Am I a no light? Am I full light? What do I need from other people? Do I feed off other people's energy, or do I give to other people's energy? But if you know yourself, you know everything you need to know, and then you can conduct, because then you make the right choices. Then you can follow your path, whichever path that is, and go, you know, it's about that discernment between good and bad. You don't transgress on anybody, you know, in the satanic, you know, even LeVay, for all the talk about his hokey pokey and stuff. But, you know, one of the tenets, you know, you don't need to rape, you don't need to kill, you don't need to be bad to people. They tell you how you want to be. If you came on here and you are welcoming, I'm welcoming. If you come on and you're not welcoming, I'm not welcoming. You know, if I meet you in a bar and you're open and you're friendly, I'm open and I'm friendly. If you're not, I'm not. What happens is that as soon as that happens, you as an individual blame them for being an arsehole or whatever, but actually you're the one promoting that. I'm only the reflection of how you are with me. So I try and be open and as friendly with everybody. If they don't respond to that and they decide their choice is to be this way, then I'll act accordingly. But because I know myself, I don't have to feel responsible for that. But most people want to bulk responsibility. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. You are. It's not my fault. Whereas if you go, that was my fault, you're accepting it. So now I've said it's my fault, and they go, I know it's your fault. They go, right, so how do we move forward from this to make it so that it doesn't happen again? So the choices next time are better choices, or I am aware of the choices, and it's a better choice for me, but it may not be for you, but I'm considering the one, not the many. So, you know, I think on all those levels, it's interesting.
No, brilliantly put. Yeah, I completely agree with where you're coming from. I'm conscious of time here. I think you'll have another one soon. The one thing I did want to touch on is that through Venom and your music, you've seen the rise and fall of entire genres in the time period. And I'm just curious, are there any bands along the way that have really stood out to you, or anyone today up and coming that really you think they're getting it right, or they catch your ear?
Well, it's, you know, there's so much richness, and I'm not balking and picking any particular bands of Amazing Mal Desecrator, who are closing the end of their part of this career soon in Australia, and going to have a great show in Sydney and stuff, and we toured with them. Amazing band, but they decided they've come to their fruition. We took a band out from Japan, Survive, who are now they're on hold and moving on to something else. But for every band that you think's great and just misses a bit, there's another one that comes through. And I think, you know, right across the spectrum, you know, from death metal, black metal, hardcore, grindcore, you know, you're looking at, you know, I can still go and see Napalm. Okay, I can't see Motorhead, but I can see Ozzy. You know, I could see Sabbath. I could see Motorhead before he went. But in the meantime, I could say Behemoth, Abath, you know, Dark Funeral, Decapitation, Suffocation, Obituary. I can go and say Testament, Metallica, Exodus. I can go, you know, I can go and say Volsum or Dust Bolt or Ultraviolence. I can go and say Torture Squad, Arch Enemy, Crypta, Nervosa, all female bands. It's like, oh my God, it's almost like we went from, you know, having a box of chocolates with the orange cream, the coffee cream, to now we've got like a Quality Street, which has got anything in there. And it's like, wow. And it's like, how much can you eat? You know, 3 days at UK Death Fest, which is the American Death Festival they do in Maryland. And they were planning to do it in the UK, in London, and it got delayed for 2 years. anyway, it happened the other weekend, and I went down. Eric and Christine Cutler from Eric from Autopsy said, oh, she said, you're going to come down and we've got passes for you. So I went down. And I hung out with, like, Nuclear Assault with John and Dan, and then Tom doing his Hellhammer Trying for Death thing. Igor Cavallero was there, Dave Ingram back in Addiction, and everybody in between, a million young bands and you just realize, wow, there's so much diversity, there's so much richness, and it was rammed everywhere. 3 venues, from a small pub to the Electric Ballroom, made famous by T-Rex, Bowie, the Pistols, and the Underworld, which is a classic venue. And I just thought, wow. And the week before, I'd been there watching Exciter and Blitzkrieg, for fuck's sake, with Brian Ross, the original Blitzkrieg, and I'm just going, wow, and seeing a lot of the same faces, So it's like, wow, across the planet. I'm very fortunate to go across the planet. No Raza, from Colombia, amazing, and Witch Burner, and Midnight, and you gotta it's a whole cornucopia of just the most amazing stuff. And so, yeah, the diversity is brilliant. I think it's the best time to be here because everybody is creating, and it seems to be even better musicians all the time because you listen to those artists and you learn their structure and then you take that forward. So it's another progression. It's like, wow, it just doesn't end, and it's so exciting. Yeah.
No, exactly. All right. Thank you very much for your time, Tony. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and we hope to see you back over here in Australia soon. Fingers crossed.
That was brilliant, Ken. Thank you so much. And thank you for letting me be on the first one, and that was really great.
I'm Jordan Sibris, and you've been listening to the Shred Is Not Dead podcast. If you've made it this far, give us a follow on Spotify, and come back next week to hear us talk to Frontiera ahead of their Australian tour.